Losing my mother at such a young age had a profound effect on me. After losing her, I wanted to educate women about how to better take care of themselves. As a result, Diane's Call Natural Living Lifestyle show was created. So let's answer the call to make our health a priority. Diane's Call. Welcome to Diane's Call Natural Living Lifestyle Show, where we show the world how to live naturally. And this time we are at the Organic Farm, SCF Organic Farm in Sumter, South Carolina. How nice is that? So we're gonna have a good conversation with Brother Shaheed.
Thank y'all for coming out and welcome to the farm.
Okay, Brother Shaheed, thank you for having us. Want to talk about, can you tell us about how the farm got started? Why did it get started? What all you do here?
We do heritage organic farming, which means we don't have no pesticides, no chemicals. And it's also dry farming where there's no irrigation, no spraying, so it's no water and everything is done natural.
Okay. When did y'all start?
Well, this farm has started longer than I've been living. This right here is on heirs property. We own the land, but also the surrounding area is heirs property. So we come from a family of farmers. And so this is like a way of life for us.
I want to reiterate something you said that's so amazing to me. You said that this is dry farming. That's a term that I don't hear much. So can you explain a little bit more about what dry farming is?
A lot of people run with irrigation, they run with irrigation systems. So that has been promoted a lot for that. If you're going to have a successful farm, you need to have irrigation, you need to have a lot of big equipment. You need to have a setup, the pumps and all that. So we do basically farming that is basic level where, as if in nature, you only be waiting on the creator and you'll be waiting on rain and what comes. So you're kind of working in a system where you're not really preparing the environment, you're waiting on the environment to help you out.
So you explain what it means by dry farming, no irrigation system. Do you all teach others how to do that, or do you have classes to teach others how to do it? Because everybody I know, they have an irrigation system. Even myself, I have a little small garden at home and I have an irrigation system. So it's pretty amazing to do what you all do, dry farming. So, you know, do y'all teach people how to farm?
We do teach this, and also SCF is a cooperative and we have this in our bylaws. So this is a heritage organic farm, and that's set in our bylaws so that the members of our co-op, all of them do dry farming. So it's kind of like a pillar which we build our cooperative on. And so we educate people. We are elementary cooperative, which we are a nonprofit, and we build our foundation off of dry farming.
Okay, Shaheed, let's go and take a look and walk around and see what kind of good things you all have planted for this season.
Okay, let's do it. What we have here is just an open field. We're gonna go from the beginning of our farm all the way into the back where we have production going, but this is just the beginning of the field, and this is the area that we done plowed in, so we're kind of like waiting for the weeds to die out, and then we're gonna cultivate it and then run rows on it.
Okay, so the weeds, you're gonna wait for them to die out. You're not gonna put anything on them to kill them.
So we're gonna plow it in, we're gonna come back and harrow it out, and then we'll plow it in again. So we do that multiple times just to make sure that it's free of weeds, because we don't use chemicals or use any sprays.
Brother Shaheed, how long have you been a farmer?
All my life.
All your life?
Yeah, I grew up in a family of farm.
So what do you plan on growing here?
What we're gonna put out here, we're gonna put out medicinal herbs that we're gonna use for teas. Last year we had hibiscus that we grew lemon basil, we grew peppermint, we do spearmint. So this is just an open area. So we're waiting for the season, and then we'll plant medicinal herbs in this area.
It's a lot of space, beautiful for medicinal herbs. That's great.
And another thing we do is this area on our organic farm, what you plant the last year won't be in the same place because you do crop rotation. So the only thing that'll be at the same spot will be fruit trees or just like muscadine trees that we have behind us.
Okay.
So.
I have a personal question. How old are you?
38.
Wow, you look great. And so you've been farming since you could walk.
Since I could walk.
That is so beautiful and amazing. Good. Brother Shaheed, tell us about what is this? What are we growing here? Looks like grapes to me.
These are muscadines and scuffernines. The muscadines are usually purple and the scuffernines are kind of like tannish to greenish. But they're great in resveratrol, they're great for your skin, and they're a great antioxidant and a nice sweet snack. Okay. And right here you can see where they're starting.
See where it's starting. And how long or when will they be ready to harvest? And we can eat some of them.
In the midsummer, they'll be ready close to the mid to the end of summer.
I mean, that's like August?
That's like August, end of July, August.
July, okay, okay. Let's talk a little bit about organic versus non-organic. I know organic means no pesticides, no sprays. Is organic really better than non-organic?
Organic is really better than non-organic if the people or the farm that's doing organic are really going by the rules. A lot of times now they have organic labeled as organic that is really not organic. That's why we have bylaws where we specifically do dry farming. So a lot of times the more you get into a big production of food, you start slipping away from organic and you go back into conventional farming, which we don't hate conventional farming. They have their purpose, but as a co-op, we try to do organic farming because we are reaching for top excellence as we can. So we're trying to make sure everything is clean as we can and as pure as we can.
Shaheed, what do we have on this side over here?
Those okras, we have okras that are planted out there. We can go and take a look at them too.
Okay, all right. So let's take a look at the okra. Now, okra is my favorite food.
You ever seen the okra plant?
Yes, I've seen okra plant. I've planted some okra.
Oh, okay. This right here is the okra. This is the spineless crimson okra.
The spineless crimson?
They have different ones. We have burgundy okra that runs. It looks reddish, just like how this okra have ridges in it like that. And this is in the same geological family as like a hibiscus, like okras. They're in the same plant. But you get some of the heritage ones that have where you look at okras mostly green, they have like a reddish hue to them where they come.
I've seen them before. I know you guys grew it. So tell me, if someone, I have some friends that want to learn how to garden and I'm not an expert, how do y'all go about teaching people, or can you give us some tips? What would someone who's brand new, they want to learn how to farm, they want it to be organic, purely organic, could you tell us some of the things that you would do?
First thing what they would do is let their land, if they had land, the easiest thing to do is if you're starting new with fresh land that's never been farmed conventionally, then we could work with you, and they have places like Clemson where they can test your soil, see what your soil is lacking, see what you need to improve on, and what type of organic matter you need to bring.
So that's number one, get your soil tested.
Get your soil
That's
tested.
the first step. Okay, get the soil tested, and then?
If you're conventionally farming, then you may need to let your farm lay by, which means that you're gonna let it grow up. You may do a cover crop. You may do just a conventional crop where you just let it grow up into maybe weeds and just kind of like maintenance by cutting it, and then kind of let your soil cure itself, because the earth has a way of curing all the chemicals, cleaning its own self up. So you'll let that, and so that takes a grace period of 3 to 5 years. Then you would go back and test your soil again.
3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years. Some of the chemicals that are in the soil, they crystallize, and especially like the petroleum-based fertilizers, they lock onto the soil. So it takes that amount of time, but the earth is able to clean itself off.
So it's kind of like a detox.
Like a detox.
I'm learning that gardening and planting and farming is pretty much like the body.
It's just like the body. We're part of earth, and a lot of times people separate people from the earth, and they say, oh, well, we're doing this to the earth, and then the earth is doing this to us, but really you have to work in harmony with the earth, and then the earth will benefit you. And if you don't work in harmony with the earth, then the earth will clean itself of you or what you're doing.
Detox.
Detox. Yeah, the earth is like a living organism or a living planet, or just like a plant that's living. It's gonna clean itself up, it's gonna regulate itself, and then it's gonna take care of itself.
Up next, are our plants still really organic? And how do you think that it'll affect our entire food supply? As we're talking about chemicals, something that's really, I think, plaguing our society and environment is these chemtrails. And, as they're flying in the air and all of those chemicals and aluminum and poisonous are coming down, are our plants still really organic? And how do you think that it'll affect our entire food supply?
With the chemtrails, a lot of people worry about things that they can't control. So if you have a plane that's flying over that's releasing chemicals, aluminum oxide, barium over your plant, when you have an organic farm, what you're doing is you have a farm that's maximizing its cleanliness. So the air is more pure. You have soil where it can absorb and dissipate any chemicals. So a lot of times people are worrying about what other people can do to them, and it's more about being proactive of what you can do to your farm or do to your environment, because you can live in a city where it's smog, there's chemicals, there's bad water, and you can go to measures to take care, make sure that you eat healthy, exercise. You can do that same thing with a living organism like plants. So what we do is different things. They have organs.
What is an organ?
An organ is different things that you can have that create different energy patterns. They used to have the old folks, before they knew what they was using it for, they knew the science of it, and they had the natural knowledge of it without having the book smart understanding of it. So they had maybe like bottle trees. They used to have the copper that they may put around their leg that give off positive energy. So when you get like aluminum oxide, which can cause you to be brain damage, can slow your thinking pattern down. They'll do different things like that. So a lot of times in older farms, you would see they would have a farm or they have a yard that has a bottle tree. And people would say, why you got a bottle tree? Or why would you have crystals in your farm? Or why would you have different figures that you would put into your natural setting that can bring positive energy, that can neutralize a lot of negative energy?
The masses, there are only a small percentage of organic farmers in the U.S.
Yeah.
So that means that the other, I'm gonna say probably 90%, are conventional. And they're not protecting the food. They don't have these protections and the things in place to combat and fight the chemicals. What about all of those people, I'm in that population, because I do try to get down here. Sometimes I don't get down here all the time to get the good organic food. What do you think is going to happen to us as a society when everybody does not have those protections in place? What do you think is going to happen to us, or what can the conventional farmers do?
What conventional farmers need to do is, a lot of people want to have a pushback on conventional farmers, but I believe in universal laws and universal cycles, and sometimes you can't really force anything to move out of its own way. A lot of times you have to let things, like they would say, run its course. So as that run its course, chemicals, bad food, food getting recalled, people being extremely sick, you have to let those type of processes run their course, and then people that are intelligent will naturally come back to their self and come back to their awareness of what they need to do. So a lot of times people will say, if you're doing an organic farm, we have a disclaimer at our co-op where we don't discriminate against nobody, no matter what their color, race, creed, ethnicity, sexual orientation. So we do that as we're inclusive with people, and then if they're doing something that's out of balance, then the natural universal law will correct them. So a lot of times people, they always come to us and say, well, you're doing organic, what about people that are not doing organic? And then they expect, well, we gotta go and do this to the people that are not doing organic, or they need to change. A lot of times they have to run their course until they get a better understanding of what they should be doing. So different people in different societies reach a critical mass of understanding. So now that you see more people are interested in organic, so it's coming to the forefront of people understanding, and once it become a critical mass, then people will say, why am I doing conventional farming, or why do I have to do it? And then if it doesn't, it'll weed itself out, and then I just let universal law of nature do its thing. What we have here is we have some natural herbs that grow. They're kind of like indigenous herbs that grow in this area. This right here is mullein, which is good for inflammation, good for swelling. And this is a natural herb that, just like we were saying about organic, some things you can't plant. Mullein is a plant that it's a wildcraft plant. So if you try to plant it a place, it won't grow there. It naturally has to find its own area to grow. So when they pop up, you cherish them and then you take care of them. But this leaf is good for, you can make a tea out of it.
I was gonna say you boil it?
You boil it and make a tea out of it.
Okay, and it helps with inflammation.
Inflammation and swelling. It also make a nice tea.
Hey there, y'all making all this noise while we trying to film?
And these are free range chickens. That's a rooster. We also have hens out here. So they free range, which they go about and they roost and they nest how they want to.
We're talking about the natural processes of chickens, and these you say take about a year?
They take about a year. In the run of a year, we may have like 100 to 200 chicken that we free range grow.
Y'all have 100 to 200 in this hole? Oh, this is a very big space.
Yeah, and then they eat a lot of the organic greens or grains that we have, so nothing goes to waste on the farm.
Nothing goes to waste, that's great. Okay. So in this whole area right here, can you tell me some of the things that we have? Okay, what is this?
This is a leek. They're similar in the same family like an onion. You could cut it and slice it, and then you can like saute them. You can add them to dishes.
This piece right here?
Well, this one is one that's seeding out right now. So these are all are seedlings. So a lot of time when you see genetically modified plants, they don't seed out because you're forced to go back to the company to buy plants. But all the natural plants that we have, they'll seed out, and then a lot of these you can keep and replant.
Glad you mentioned GMOs. So genetically, tell us again what GMO is, what it means, and that versus this, which is natural and organic.
GMO is a genetically modified organism. So when you're genetically modified, you have somebody in a lab that's manipulating with nature. A lot of times the reason that they genetically modify is because they want products a certain image to look and have a certain beautification, look in the store, have a uniform shape to them. And also a lot of companies do genetically modified products so that they can have what they call a patent on the seed or the plant. And things like in natural state, you can't really put a patent on it. Well, if you genetically modify something, you can put a patent on it, and that translate to money and translate to ownership of natural product.
Wow. So GMO means genetically modified organism, and people do that to make things more beautiful. And really the bottom line is about really money. About money. Okay. So then tell us some of the other crops that we have planted in this area, because this is a fairly large area.
We have, right here is a red leaf oak. This is a lettuce. As you see, it's elongating. So this is about to seed out. We had this when the heat comes, then it starts seeding out. And once it seed out, then we'll collect the seeds and save those for the next season.
Okay.
And
So
then
you do your own seeds. You don't have to go buy seeds.
we'll have to go buy seed.
Buy seeds. Okay. And then these looks like tomato plants.
These are tomato plants. You see the lettuce in this area, and we're getting the tomato plants ready in this area, and then we'll take the lettuce out once it's seed out.
Okay. And then what's over here?
Those are sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes.
Those are sweet potato beds, and further over is squash.
We have much more land to see.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun.
Go ahead and take a look. Okay. We're gonna continue to tour the farm, and when we return, we're gonna talk about the difference between a hoop house and a greenhouse.
Car accidents and being injured can make you feel powerless, like you don't have a voice. You need someone to make sure you are treated fairly and respectfully. We'll make sure your voice is heard. You have rights, and you deserve to be compensated fairly. You didn't choose to be in an accident, but you can choose who has your back.
At the Salomon Law Group, we've got your back.
Call for a free consultation at 803-509-8888.
Welcome back to Diane's Call Natural Living Lifestyle Show, where we're going to continue our tour. And now we're going to talk about this big old greenhouse.
No, we're not a greenhouse. This is a hoop house.
What's the difference?
A greenhouse and a hoop house have two different purposes. They're similar, but a greenhouse is equipped with water, temperature control. A hoop house is just a basic covering so that you can get plants started. And particularly here, we only use it for winter months to get an early start on the spring. Would you like to take a look inside?
Yes, let's do it. Come on. It's hot in here?
Nelly.
Oh, yeah. That's where the seedlings, when you do this primarily in the wintertime.
The hoop house is primarily like during the wintertime when it's cold, you can get a start on plants. You can get a lot of early seedlings. Particularly now, this is not the season for them, but for Heritage Organic Farm, you would use this as just a quick start just to get you advanced. And then a lot of time when you have weather changing, you may want to have plants ready. So if you have an early frost, a late frost, and you already have plants that have planted to the field, then you'll have kind of like an insurance policy on plants that you have in the stowaway that you can come back to the field with if anything happens.
That's the hoop house.
That's the hoop house.
All right.
Nothing fancy, no electricity, no water, no irrigation, nothing, just a covering to keep the frost off your plant.
You know what this reminds me of? You know how they have all of those plants at Lowe's and Home Depot and other warehouse, other places that you can buy plants?
Yeah.
They've already started them. So y'all do this yourself.
You do this
You don't
yourself.
have to go nowhere. So it's kind of the same concept?
Same concept. We save our seeds, we germinate our own plants, and then we have them ready for the field when the season comes in.
That's wonderful. Y'all do everything. So I know what a hoop house is. Let's talk about a greenhouse. I don't see a greenhouse here. And you know, we were talking earlier about chemtrails. For those people who don't have what you all have here, you know, you got the energy, you got nature, it's already organic. If someone wants to start out, is it best that they have a greenhouse? Again, I don't see any greenhouses here to protect them from things like chemtrails.
I think that people should start off in a natural state and continue in a natural state. A lot of time a greenhouse creates a artificial environment. A lot of time the food that's produced doesn't have as much nutrients because it doesn't have the soil, what we call Mother Earth, to draw from to give it the proper energy, proper frequency, proper sunlight. So when you're creating an artificial environment, you're getting kind of like an artificial product. But if a person is in a place where they can't get you know, sunlight and they have to create something artificial, then a greenhouse works perfectly for that. But We're in South Carolina where we have beautiful weather. It rains all the time. We have humidity, we have sunshine, we have the loomy clay soil, so I wouldn't see no need for
a greenhouse in South Carolina. So let's go on out here and see what else you have. Look like I see some corn also.
We have corn, cucumbers, we got carrots.
Ooh, I see a few cucumbers. So just, I don't want to do it wrong, just pull it.
Just pull onto the stem and just pop it right off.
Got it. Ooh-wee. I really can't eat it. Wipe the dirt off and just eat it right. Thanks for my cucumber, Shaheed. We have a lot of stuff out here. So could you tell me, starting from we came over from the hoop house and what we have all over this field and that field and all the way back?
We have corn, like a Silver Queen corn. We have lettuce. We also have cucumbers. We have kale. We have collards, lacinato kale. We have carrots, beets, turnips, mustard greens, and we also have sweet potatoes, and then we have white potatoes. We have different varieties, like we have a Sangria, and then we have Yukon Gold.
Can't wait.
And then we also have sweet potatoes, and then we have, finally, your favorite is watermelon.
Yeah. With seeds.
With seeds.
Okay, good. It's hard to find them now with seeds in them. It's okay. So there's a lot of stuff. So what we're growing now is the season for it.
The season that we're coming into now, we're coming into fruits, which is like cucumbers, watermelon, cantaloupe, tomatoes. So that's mostly the season that everybody likes when they run into fruit, something sweet or something that you can work with without cooking.
You called a tomato and a cucumber a fruit, which they are. And tell us why we call those fruit, because most people say that they're vegetables. Why is a cucumber and a tomato a fruit?
The reason that they're fruit because they have a flowering and they are a vine plant that runs off of they have a bloom where the fruit comes from the bloom. So a lot of things that you look at that we substitute and we use as vegetables are really fruits. So a lot of people if you ask them about a tomato, they would just naturally think it's a vegetable, and they associate fruits with being sweet. So if something is not sweet, then it must be a vegetable. But a lot of fruits you have, like, we also grow bitter melons, which is a fruit, and it's, like the name says, it's a real bitter melon. It also has a medicinal purpose. It's good for high blood pressure, good for the immune system, but it's a fruit.
When is that one grown? What season is that?
That grown from now into midsummer all the way to like first frost.
So is it safe to say we got 4 seasons and you all plant 4 times a year?
We plant 4 times and then we rotate. And being that we're in South Carolina, you can run a farm like the whole year round, because you could do early spring, you can do your lettuce, different light crops like that. Then you can go into summer where you're doing a lot of fruits. Then you can move into like winter where you're doing some of your like fall and winter squash, potatoes and different stuff. And then you can, and all during that season, you can still have like your greens, your kale. And then a lot of plants that you have, you can still plant them during the different seasons, but they may react different. They may seed out quicker. So you may plant like spinach and only know that you may gonna only have like 2 to 3 weeks of good production, and then it'll seed out.
Tell us some plants that you have that are ready to harvest besides this cucumber. What else you got here?
Right here we have carrots. So, and see, you have different sizes. And see, a carrot won't be conventional. This is, you have different sizes and different shapes. But this is like a conventional carrot, but a lot of times you don't see the tops on a carrot when you go to the store. Similar to like how you see a celery, you won't see the top of the celery. But the top of the celery is really nutritious, just like a carrot, the top of the carrot is real nutritious. You can eat that, but you would saute it, or if you do, we do a lot of juicing. So you could clean it off and then run it through a juicer.
Hold like that.
Just hold like that.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Diane's Call Natural Lifestyle Living Show. Again, we're with Brother Shaheed at the Organic Farm in Sumter. And now we've done a tour of the entire farm. We're in the shop now. So Shaheed, tell us what goes on in the shop and all of these wonderful products that are here.
Well, this shop we use it as different purposes. Sometimes we use it for educational. As you can see on the back, we do presentations off of a projector screen. And then also we have set up today, we have a display table of some of the products that we have and the vegetables after they have been kind of like processed and packaged and presented.
Do you sell these products straight out of the shop?
Well, the purpose of the shop is more or less to meet people, maybe show them a film or something. The shop, we'd have different markets that we set up, like access points and different farmer market that we create.
So tell me those. All of them.
On Tuesday, we go to the Healthy Market at USC on USC campus. That's in Columbia. From there, we go on Tuesday afternoon to Sand Hill, which is Clemson Extension. We have a market there on Tuesday. Wednesday, we go to Clarendon Health System, which is the Zones. That's Clarendon Memorial Hospital, where we set up a market. We do a lot of on-site markets because we have a Midlands Organic Mobile Market. And it's kind of like in the vein of like the old food truck where we have a transit van and we have a pop-up tents, tables, and a setup where you set up and you create like an instant farmer's market wherever you go. And it kind of like addresses like food deserts and people that don't have access to healthy organic vegetables.
Shaheed, all of this wonderful food that is on this table and other products, can you tell us a little bit about them and what they are?
We have, I think we have identified some of them that we have picked, like the carrots, we have kale, we have zucchini, we also have Mediterranean squash.
And what are these products? Do you all make these?
We have different, we have SCF, which is a co-op, so we have different products that we get. All our products are natural, so we have herbal products that are inspected through the Department of Agriculture. So this is, we have herbal supplements and we also have herbal teas. We have natural shea butter soap and we also have essential oils.
Shaheed, thank you so much for allowing Diane's Call to come and do a tour.
Thank y'all for coming and really appreciate having y'all, and it's been a pleasure.
Up next is my Spicy Bite. Today's Spicy Bite is ginger root. And as we can see, this root is already budding out. You can use ginger as a tea, as a juice. You can juice it and put it in many other drinks that you have. Right now, I have a really, really good cold beverage. It's a ginger juice. So good. Again, it can be used as a tea. It can be used as a spice. You can cook with it. You can saute with it. It gives it a really, really good punch in everything that you put it in. Thank you for watching Diane's Call. We'll see you next week.